Happening now, a group of legislators is calling for the resignation of Oregon State Representative Mike Nearman. The District 23 Republican from Independence now faces criminal charges in connection with his opening of a door. You can see it here on the surveillance video from the state capitol. Well, that move allowed anti-lockdown protesters to enter the closed building in December.
Nearman faces one count of first-degree misconduct and second-degree criminal trespass. Both are misdemeanors with a maximum 1 year in jail and a roughly $6,000 fine. In a letter this week, BIPOC legislators called for his resignation, and their efforts are being supported by fellow state representative Lisa Reynolds from Portland's West Side, who joins us live this morning. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Emily and Jenny. Thank you so much for having me today.
Well, why did you want to join in on this effort with your colleagues?
Well, I will say I was not in the building on December 21st when this event happened. It was before I was elected, but it's clearly, Representative Nearman clearly allowed entrance to the building of protesters who espouse racist, xenophobic, and homophobic values. And I think this has no place in the Capitol. And I will say, as a white person who may not be directly the target of these folks' ire, I feel particularly concerned with my Black, Indigenous, people of color colleagues and the staff in the building who feel personally threatened by such action, and their safety is threatened by such action.
Well, give us a sense of how people are feeling in the Capitol. What has it been like over the last several months? Still moving forward and trying to work on things with what I would imagine is some tension there. And what was the reaction after learning about these criminal charges for Representative Nearman?
Well, I will tell you, as you all may know, the Capitol is closed to the public due to COVID precautions, which has probably lowered the temperature in the building in terms of some of the tension that might exist when the building is full of people, including people who carry firearms. I would say overall, we work really hard as legislators to continue to do the work of the people. And anyone who follows the legislature know that well over 90% of bills that are passed with bipartisan support. But Representative Nearman has been stripped of his committee assignments, which is where a lot of the important decisions on legislature gets made. And that was a relief to many of us. I will say personally, when he stands up to speak on the floor of the legislature, I get a little pit in my stomach about that. It feels inappropriate right now.
Yeah. Aside from calls for him to resign, is there anything else being done to potentially remove him from office?
Well, certainly the criminal charges up the ante in terms of people calling for him to resign. Many of us called for him to resign, within days after this video was revealed. But I think the criminal charges are looked at very carefully, and certainly if he is found guilty, we have a lot of reasons to ask him to resign or to expel him. There is a process in the Oregon legislature. There's something called the House Conduct Committee, which will be doing an investigation on Representative Nearman as well, and they will come out with a recommendation, either which may include expelling him if he does not resign.
Does there appear to be bipartisan support from this? Have there been any calls from his Republican colleagues to also asking that he resign?
I have not tracked super closely all of the social media posts, for example. I have seen many of my Democratic colleagues call for Representative Nearman to resign, and that's from way back in January. The Black, Indigenous, People of Color Caucus released a statement this week asking for him to resign. The only thing I've heard from the Republican leadership is a fairly bland statement that no one is above the law. So as far as I know, Republican leadership and Republican colleagues have not called for his resignation. And to me, that speaks volumes. This was a clearly racist act that Representative Nearman performed. And it's up to us, every legislator, including and especially the white legislators, to call this out for what it is, which is a racist act and an attack on our colleagues and on staff in the building who are people of color.
State Representative Lisa Reynolds, thank you so much for joining us on AM Extra this morning.
Thank you very much for having me.
Well, we are following the money this morning after the public commented on the mayor's proposed $5.7 billion budget for Portland in the next fiscal year.